What's going on, YouTube? It's 3zinferno. So, today I'm here to talk to you guys about Kansas City, what to decide, what decks are going to be there, what to look out for. So, people are going to Kansas City. You're definitely going to see a lot of plant decks. People are going to be copying Billy Break's version, running 3 Max C's, Thunder King, whatever, things like that. So, that's going to be something you're going to have to watch out for. Another deck that I think people will be running, Rescue Rabbit. It is an overrated deck in my opinion. It doesn't have that many outs to big cards, like big monsters or anything like that. So it's really a control deck, just like anti-meta would be, I guess. So the good Rescue Rabbit decks are anti-meta. So personally, it's not something I'm too worried about. Another deck, Dark Worlds. Dark Worlds can be interesting because Dark Smog is actually a really good card because it can be used on both your opponent's turn as well as your turn, discarding a Fiend type. So it's actually really useful. And I just think Dark Smog will be one of the more played cards in Dark Worlds that will give trouble to plant decks. And the ability for Dark World to run Skill Drain is actually really useful. So I think Dark Worlds actually have a bigger impact this YCS than at Columbus. Agents are going to show up to this event as well, even though there are, I think, of the lower, they're of tier 1, but of the lowest tier. I mean, the lowest part of tier 1. They're still very viable. They're still really good. Deck. The one problem that it has is I think cards like Leeching the Light can one turn kill them, and just things like that. So agent players are somewhat at a disadvantage, even though they're still on tier 1. Rescue Rabbit, I don't really think it's tier 1. I think it's just right below, like 1.5. And I would say Dark Worlds is 1.5 too. We'll see how it goes at this event. Some tier 2 decks that I think will show up to Kansas City. Gladiator Beasts are always there. Just, I don't know. People always think that Gladiator Beasts are always worth it. Like, they're always possible to win. But it's just, I don't really know. Like, Gladiator Beasts, again, one of the big problems is getting over. They're like a control deck nowadays. So once you get over a control deck, it's basically they can't do anything. It's similar to Gravekeepers, anti-meta, like again Rescue Rabbit, just control decks in general. That's their problem. They can't get over big monsters or big pushes. Like they can't come back. So that's why I don't really like those kinds of decks. It's not versatile enough. Gladiator Beast is supposed to be versatile. It's supposed to be a toolbox, but nowadays, cards are just sometimes, most cards are just too fast. Next, we still have Gravekeepers, but a lot of Gravekeepers aren't running that anymore, obviously because of Dark World matchup. They don't want to roll Tribute and lose everything. So that's just one big thing. Then you also have Elemental Heroes. People are always trying to run Elemental Heroes. I mean, it's not that bad a deck. It's pretty strong. It has its flexibility. It's versatile, but they still need something. They're still missing something. They're still a little bit inconsistent. They need, like, I don't know. I really think Elemental Heroes are getting there. They're really getting there with cards like Tornado and Parallel World Fusion and things like that. But I really think that there's something missing. I can't put my finger on it. Like, in theory, Elemental Heroes should be really good. But, you know, they just haven't made it. And so those are the top decks that I think are going to be there. You have your top tier, like Plants and Fairies. Then you have your Dark Worlds and your Rescue Rabbits underneath that. And then you have things like Gladiator Beasts, Anti-Meta, Gravekeepers, just random small decks and things like that. Now, siding. Siding is really important. I think siding is like almost more important than some of the intricacies of your main deck. like running if you're running scapegoat or not. Your side deck is the thing that gets you through every round. So what should you side against? What's something that's good against a lot of decks? Debunk right now is really good against every deck. You can debunk things from in Dark Worlds like Grapha, all their monsters, to like Maxis and Balers in every deck. It's just really useful. I just think debunk that should be sided in like every deck. Also Kaikus, Thunder Kings. Thunder Kings I think are given right now. If you're not maining them, you should be siding them. Kaikus though, Kaikus are a little underrated. I think Kaikus are really useful in the matchups. Like if they go Graph on you and then pop your stuff and then end turn, you can Kaiku and remove their Graphas from the graveyard. Plants, you can remove their Dandelion Spore, all those things, light or dark monsters, whatever you want to remove. And it also prevents them from BLSing you because they can't remove cards from play. Good against fairies, you run over their Venuses and remove their agents so they can't Hyperion you. Also removing their Tengus and things like that. So Kaiku's a really useful card. Doom Cow's seeing a lot of play, and I think it's pretty good too. It's a pretty even trade, and it's like stops things like Gores and makes people waste Maxis. Doom Cow's pretty useful, and then Breakers are actually pretty good. What people starting to do with Breakers is decide it because of things like debunk. So you go Breaker, pop their back row, which is like a debunk maybe, and then you can either go off or do a next turn, and then you still have a 16 beater on the field. So Breakers are really useful. So that's what I think. And DD Crow, of course, breakup plays like Pot of Avarice, removing Dark Worlds, removing agents, Hyperion targets, things like that. So that's a pretty common what I think should be in the side deck. And some back row destruction, of course, like Dust Tornado. Card I really like is Chain Whirlwind. If you run that card, it's really good against decks that set a lot, even against plant decks, Dark Worlds. Because let's say they go Dark World Grapha, especially against Dark Worlds, they go Dark World Grapha, pop a card, like then you go, alright, let it resolve, and then you activate Chain Whirlwind and destroy 2 of their back rows. That's useful because they do things like drag down to the grave, so they set their spells and traps, and then you they activate drag down, and then you can like pick Grapha. Then Grapha pops a card, then you Chain Whirlwind, destroy 2 of the cards they just set. So those are usually pretty good. They're usually spells, and even if they're traps, that's good because you get rid of them anyway. So Chain Whirlwind's actually a really good card. So if you guys want to check that out. Alright, that's all I have for a YCS Kansas City update. I will be there, so if you guys see me, say hi, say you guys watch my videos, whatever you want to say, just say hi, stop by, if you want to play, maybe I'll play, trade, whatever you guys want. Alright, thanks guys, 3zinferno signing out.